Hi, this is Glenda. This is a video for our Papermates group. I took along my stitched cards last month and we decided we'll make stitched cards next month. So all this is an idea for them as to what they should be bringing. So unless that happens to interest you, I'd tune out now. So I will bring along some patterns, and you cut off the dotty bit that is the pattern. And you need to be able to prick your pattern, so I like to use this. Some stamps came in it long ago, but it's got the hard case and a piece of foam. So what you want is just some sort of foam, either a thick fun foam or some packaging or something, and preferably something to put under it so you don't go through to the table. It could be a cutting mat or something underneath it, just something to protect things. Cardstock, I found a medium weight cardstock seemed to work quite well. You can use virtually anything. A bit thin and it's a bit harder to work, a bit thick and it's equally hard to get your needle through, so in between is good. So then you decide where you want your pattern, and I like to simply put a pin in a couple of the spots where you're going to have holes anyway, and that holds your pattern in place. To prick the pattern you need some sort of needle. I've got a parchment needle that works really well. If you don't, then just a sewing needle or something, not too thick, and obviously if it's a bit longer it'll be easier to handle, but if you happen to have one of these it's really good. And then you just work your way through pricking the pattern on all the little dots, and it doesn't take too long, but anyway, you work your way around. With this system you can lift it and see if you've missed a bit, and if you take it off and find you've missed a bit, because there's there's pinpricks here and here, so they're easy to miss. You can line your pins up again and put it back if you miss one. So that's it to prick the pattern. When you've pricked your pattern, you're going to want some sticky tape. I prefer to use a frosted one that shouldn't perish. You'll want some thread, a needle which I just put aside. I like the metallic thread, I like the look that it gives, but you can use any sewing thread. So you're just cutting off a length if you haven't buried your scissors. A thinner needle's better because obviously you're going to make the hole bigger, but when you're finished, if you rub the back with your nail or a bone folder, these holes will disappear to a certain extent and make your finished product look a lot better, but you don't do that till after you've finished stitching. You need to choose a needle that actually has an eye that you can get your thread through, which I thought I could do. I should have had my needle pre-threaded as well. There we go. So the pattern has numbers on it, and this particular one starts over on the left, so we want to attach our thread just with a bit of sticky tape. Down like that. You're going to come up through from the back to the front through the first hole, and then number 2 is on the other side, and I don't get terribly precise. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4 from this bend, 1, 2, 3, 4, say in about there. So you go in, and then on all these sorts of ones you're simply going up the very next one at the back, so it doesn't use anywhere near as much thread. on this type of pattern. Oh. Okay, so then you go back again to the next hole and up again at the one next to it. And let's see, number 3 means you're going this way. So then once you get into a rhythm, you're just going back and forth. When your thread runs out, you simply pull it to one side and sticky tape it again and start a new thread. And you just work your way around. So they're the tools to get going. To give you some ideas of finishing, I did a die cut around it, so it's better to do it on a slightly bigger card, and then you can decide what you want to cut out. I cut all of these after they were stitched, and then some Nouveau drops and a sentiment. Again, it was just a die cut circle, embossed background, sentiment, and a pearl in the middle. This is a die cut around the edge and a sentiment, as simple as that. Then we move on to, these are simply cut and a bit of washi tape down the side and a sentiment, more Nouveau drops. The swan again, that's a die cut rectangle, Nouveau drops, sentiment, layered on a card. Again, just layering onto a card and a sentiment, not even any drops this time. That one I used a corner punch, Nouveau drops, sentiment. This one, just a sentiment basically, mounted on a card, as is this, but with a diamante in the middle. And then if you're doing the Spirelli cards, all you need for these is a scallop or a, what do they call it, with a point, anyway you need something with points that you can wrap your thread around. So all they are is thread wrapped around a shape. So those two, they both have a swirl and a sentiment and some pearls or drops. That one's simply on pattern, actually I cut that out. I must have cut that out with a die out of the paper and then done the Spirelli on it, because you can actually see that it's a die cut there and it's raised. But they're, you know, so swirls, and I hope that's given you some ideas of what to bring. And we'll should have some fun stitching next time.